my background was never SEO, it was never internet marketing. I never thought I'd be standing up here talking about this kind of stuff. Principally, my background is I'm a trainer of neuro-linguistic programming. You might have heard of NLP, you might not have. You heard of Tony Robbins, you'll know what that's about. I fix phobias, I do all the kind of Paul McKenna stuff. And I train people to become life coaches and therapists. That's what I've been doing for 17 years. I actually wrote a 500-page book on the subject. It's got a 10-year guarantee. I don't know how many books have a 10-year guarantee. I've never had a copy returned. I've also got 17 audio CD products out on the market and have done for the past 10 years or so. And that's essentially my background. Now in BNI, I'm wearing a completely different hat. Give you some examples of some stuff I've done before. This is a quick picture of me on the Fred McCauley show earlier on in the year when Shireen Nanjiani discovered she had a moth phobia in a studio one night when a moth flew in and she freaked. So I was called in to do a moth phobia on the radio. I always thought it was quite ironic because no one can see it. Over the last 10 years, I saw the internet becoming more and more important and the yellow pageosaurus getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So I taught myself internet marketing and search engine optimization, basically how to get free publicity and to get found on Google. Now, I didn't just do a course or read a book on it or go away and do a weekend thing in it. I had to learn how to promote my own business online for the past 10 years. Then some of my students asked me how to build websites, how to get online, how to get clients, that kind of thing. So I started doing that for them. And as a result, I got a whole bunch of referrals from Chinese restaurants, aquarium makers, all sorts of bricks and mortar companies in Glasgow and around who asked me because they either had no website or the website they had, they'd set up themselves or they'd paid someone else to design it for them. So through no plan, no sort of long-term game plan, I now have a business called Generation Glasgow, which grew out of demand. There's a huge demand for this kind of done-for-you service, and it seems like I've come along at just the right time. Businesses are struggling, sales are down, expenses are up. The public are a bit cautious about spending, you've maybe found that. So businesses need every advantage they can get to get their products and services in front of as many human beings as possible, for as little cost as possible. Print advertising is more expensive than it ever was before, and it's working worse than it ever did before. Advertisers will phone you and tell you you need to run the same advert for 3 months in a row before you get any phone calls. You had that kind of phone call yet from them? Bullshit. Good way to sell adverts. If your advert doesn't pull in the first week, it ain't going to pull full stop. So that brings us back to the internet. Your shop is open 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, internationally. And you can buy a domain name for a £5 and hosting for £5 a month. So for a tenner, you can be online internationally 24 hours a day. Now you know you need to have a website nowadays. What do you think of a company, for instance, who you can't find online? If you get a website address and you go looking for them, what do you think when you can't find them? Because what happens is a lot of people look for your website just to check out if you're gen up, just to see if you're kosher. If they can't find you, you lose all credibility. Now, I'm not sure if you really believe that people are going online to look for local services or not, so I did a quick little keyword research here. Scottish art, 12,000 searches a month. UPVC windows, 90,000 searches a month. This is UK wide. Scotland figures you could see 10% of. Building contractor, 12,000 searches per month. Okay, people are going online looking for your products and services, but what do most businesses do when they decide to buy a website? What most businesses do is they hire a website design company, they pay them a large amount of money to build a site for them. In fact, what you normally get is a typical catalogue site, so it's like homepage, about me, contact us, that kind of thing. 95% of people who hit a site like that leave without doing anything. A site like that, a catalogue site, typical site, 5% of visitors will actually opt in or give you their email or phone you. Unfortunately, that just doesn't cut it anymore. The days of the static web page that you could put up, Google hates that with a passion, and after all, Google now runs the show. Google likes activity and frequent changing content. So if your website hasn't changed for a few years, it will plummet off the pages and no one will find it. You need to use video, you need to use enticing language, preferably hypnotic language, headlines, proven layouts, and Google-friendly dynamic design to grab and hold the browser's attention. Far better than the traditional catalogue site is what's called a landing page. A single web page, no links off it, nowhere to go, just give me a name and email in return for something for free. That kind of page gets a 45% response, typically on average. 9 times the number of inquiries compared to a traditional web page. And that's a heck of a lot quicker to set up. Now this is where I get to use my psychology and hypnosis background, because I can use hypnotic language patterns in the text that appears on that website. I read a great story about a petrol station in the States that tested their language patterns. They were trying to sell oil as drivers came in to buy petrol. The attendant would say, "Do you want me to check your oil?" 90% of drivers said no. Okay? They decided to test that phrase. What would you say to get people to buy more oil? Here's what they said: "Let me check if your oil is at a safe level." That phrase, 90% of drivers said, "Yeah, okay," and 900% more oil has been sold as a result. Imagine if you could get 9 times the sales or inquiries just by changing some of the language on a web page. But you'd never know unless you try it. I've got an Airdrie client who buys and sells houses for cash. We did a video outside the time capsule in Coatbridge. The phone number's an Airdrie phone number, and he's in his Lanarkshire accent, so locals understand him and recognise him. Subliminally, they already feel as if they know, like, and trust the guy. Now, most website designers aren't internet marketers, and most internet marketers aren't website designers, and none of them are hypnotists. So you can either have a very pretty site that's gorgeous to look at, or a site that's on page 1 of Google, but very rarely do you get both. And if you want to change anything on your site, you have to pay the web design guy a small fortune for every change, plus the time delay it takes for them to get round to doing it, which means you're basically powerless and your site's sitting there unchanged. Can anybody relate to that problem? You could do it yourself, but there's a huge amount to learn, and frankly, you don't have the time. You don't have the luxury of sitting on the web learning how to do all this techie stuff while the bills and the payroll continue to snap at your heels. So you've probably heard of Twitter, blogging, Facebook, SEO, mobile text, Google Maps, social media. I've spent the last 10 years working out how to do that stuff so that my clients don't have to, and I explain it to people in layman's terms with a Lanarkshire accent.